Nikola Tesla was a Serbian-American inventor, electrical engineer, mechanical engineer, and futurist who is best known for his contributions to the design of the modern alternating current (AC) electricity supply system. Born and raised in the Austrian Empire, Tesla received an advanced education in engineering and physics in the 1870s and gained practical experience in the early 1880s working in telephony and at Continental Edison in the new electric power industry. He immigrated in 1884 to the United States, where he would become a naturalized citizen. He worked for a short time at the Edison Machine Works in New York City before he struck out on his own. With the help of partners to finance and market his ideas, Tesla set up laboratories and companies in New York to develop a range of electrical and mechanical devices. His alternating current, AC, induction motor and related polyphase AC patents, licensed by the Westinghouse Electric in 1888, earned him a considerable amount of money and became the cornerstone of the polyphase system, which that company would eventually market. Attempting to develop inventions he could patent and market, Tesla conducted a range of experiments with mechanical oscillators, generators, electrical discharge tubes, and early X-ray imaging. He also built a wireless-controlled boat, one of the first ever exhibited. Tesla became well known as an inventor and would demonstrate his achievements to celebrities and wealthy patrons at his lab, and was noted for his showmanship at public lectures. Throughout the 1890s, Tesla pursued his ideas for wireless lighting and worldwide wireless electric power distribution in his high-voltage, high-frequency power experiments in New York and Colorado Springs. In 1893, he made pronouncements on the possibility of wireless communication with his devices. Tesla tried to put these ideas to practical use in his unfinished Wardenclyffe Tower project, an intercontinental wireless communication and power transmitter, but ran out of funding before he could complete it. After Wardenclyffe, Tesla experimented with a series of inventions in the 1910s and 1920s with varying degrees of success. Having spent most of his money, Tesla lived in a series of New York hotels, leaving behind unpaid bills. He died in New York City in January 1943. Tesla's work fell into relative obscurity following his death until 1960, when the General Conference on Weights and Measures named the SI unit of magnetic flux density the Tesla in his honor. There has been a resurgence in popular interest in Tesla since the 1990s. In 1874, Tesla evaded conscription into the Austro-Hungarian army in Smiljan by running away southeast of Lika to Tomengács near Grácsik. There he explored the mountains wearing hunter's garb. Tesla said that this contact with nature made him stronger both physically and mentally. He read many books while in Tomengács and later said that Mark Twain's works had helped him to miraculously recover from his earlier illness. In 1875, Tesla enrolled at Austrian Polytechnic in Graz, Austria, on a military frontier scholarship. During his first year, Tesla never missed a lecture, earned the highest grades possible, passed 9 exams, nearly twice as many as required, started a Serb cultural club, and even received a letter of commendation from the dean of the technical faculty to his father, which stated, "Your son is a star of first rank." During his second year, Tesla came into conflict with Professor Poschl over the Graham dynamo, when Tesla suggested that the commutators were not necessary. Tesla claimed that he worked from 3 a.m. to 11 p.m., no Sundays or holidays accepted. He was mortified when his father made light of those hard-won honors. After his father's death in 1879, Tesla found a package of letters from his professors to his father, warning that unless he were removed from the school, Tesla would die through overwork. At the end of his second year, Tesla lost his scholarship and became addicted to gambling. During his third year, Tesla gambled away his allowance and his tuition money, later gambling back his initial losses and returning the balance to his family. Tesla said that he conquered his passion then and there, but later in the US, he was again known to play billiards. When examination time came, Tesla was unprepared and asked for an extension to study, but was denied. He did not receive grades for the last semester of the third year, and he never graduated from the university. In December 1878, Tesla left Graz and severed all relations with his family to hide the fact that he dropped out of school. His friends thought he had drowned in the nearby Mur River. Tesla moved to Maribor, where he worked as a draftsman for 60 florins per month. He spent his spare time playing cards with local men on the streets. In March 1879, Tesla's father went to Maribor to beg his son to return home, but he refused. Nikola suffered a nervous breakdown around the same time. On 24 March 1879, Tesla was returned to Gospic under police guard for not having a residence permit. On 17 April 1879, Mulatin Tesla died at the age of 60 after contracting an unspecified illness. Some sources say that he died of a stroke. During that year, Tesla taught a large class of students in his old school in Gospic. In January 1880, two of Tesla's uncles put together enough money to help him leave Gospic for Prague, where he was to study. He arrived too late to enroll at Charles Ferdinand University. He had never studied Greek, a required subject, and he was illiterate in Czech, another required subject. Tesla did, however, attend lectures in philosophy at the university as an auditor, but he did not receive grades for the courses. In 1881, Tesla moved to Budapest, Hungary, to work under Tivadar Puskás at a telegraph company, the Budapest Telephone Exchange. Upon arrival, Tesla realized that the company, then under construction, was not functional, so he worked as a draftsman in the Central Telegraph Office instead. Within a few months, the Budapest Telephone Exchange became functional, and Tesla was allocated the chief electrician position. During his employment, Tesla made many improvements to the central station equipment and claimed to have perfected a telephone repeater or amplifier, which was never patented nor publicly described. In 1882, Tivadar Puskás got Tesla another job in Paris with the Continental Edison Company. Tesla began working in what was then a brand new industry, installing indoor incandescent lighting citywide in the form of an electric power utility. The company had several subdivisions, and Tesla worked at the Société Électrique Edison, the division in the Ivry-sur-Seine suburb of Paris, in charge of installing the lighting system. There he gained a great deal of practical experience in electrical engineering. Management took notice of his advanced knowledge in engineering and physics, and soon had him designing and building improved versions of generating dynamos and motors. They also sent him on to troubleshoot engineering problems at other Edison utilities being built around France and in Germany. In 1884, Edison manager Charles Batchelor, who had been overseeing the Paris installation, was brought back to the United States to manage the Edison Machine Works, a manufacturing division situated in New York City, and asked that Tesla be brought to the U.S. as well. In June 1884, Tesla immigrated to the United States. He began working almost immediately at the Machine Works on Manhattan's Lower East Side, an overcrowded shop with a workforce of several hundred machinists, laborers, managing staff, and 20 field engineers struggling with the task of building the large electric utility in that city. As in Paris, Tesla was working on troubleshooting installations and improving generators. Historian W. Bernard Carlson notes, Tesla may have met company founder Thomas Edison only a couple of times. One of those times was noted in Tesla's autobiography, where, after staying up all night repairing the damaged dynamos on the ocean liner SS Oregon, he ran into Batchelor and Edison, who made a quip about their Parisian being out all night. After Tesla told them he had been up all night fixing the Oregon, Edison commented to Batchelor that this is a damn good man. One of the projects given to Tesla was to develop an arc lamp-based street lighting system. Arc lighting was the most popular type of street lighting, but it required high voltages and was incompatible with the Edison low-voltage incandescent system, causing the company to lose contracts in the cities that wanted street lighting as well. Tesla's design were never put into production, possibly because of the technical improvements in the incandescent street lighting, or because of an installation deal that Edison cut with an arc lighting company. Tesla had been working at the machine works for a total of 6 months when he quit. What event precipitated his leaving is unclear. It may have been over a bonus he did not receive, either for redesigning generators or for the arc lighting system that was shelved. Tesla had previous run-ins with the Edison company over unpaid bonuses he believed he had earned. In his own biography, Tesla stated the manager of the Edison Machine Works offered a $50,000 bonus to design 24 different types of standard machines, but it turned out to be a practical joke. Later versions of the story have Thomas Edison himself offering and then reneging on the deal, quipping, "Tesla, you don't understand our American humor." The size of the bonus in either story has been noted as odd since Machine Works manager Batchelor was stingy with pay, and the company did not have that amount of cash, equivalent to $12 million today, on hand. Tesla's diary contains just one comment on what happened at the end of his employment. A note he scrawled across the 2 pages covering 7 December 1884 to 4 January 1885, saying, "Goodbye to the Edison Machine Works." Soon after leaving the Edison Company, Tesla was working on patenting an arc lighting system, possibly the same one he had developed at Edison. In March 1885, he met with patent attorney Lemuel W. Sorel, the same attorney used by Edison, to obtain help with submitting the patents. Sorel introduced Tesla to 2 businessmen, Robert Lane and Benjamin Vail, who agreed to finance an arc lighting manufacturing and utility company in Tesla's name, the Tesla Electric Light and Manufacturing. Tesla worked for the rest of the year obtaining the patents that included an improved DC generator, the first patents issued to Tesla in the US, and building and installing the system in Rahway, New Jersey. Tesla's new system gained notice in the technical press, which commented on its advanced features. The investors showed little interest in Tesla's ideas for new types of alternating current motors and electrical transmission equipment. After the utility was up and running in 1886, they decided that the manufacturing side of the business was too competitive and opted to simply run an electric utility. They formed a new utility company, abandoning Tesla's company and leaving the inventor penniless. Tesla even lost control of the patents he had generated, since he had assigned them to the company in exchange for stock. He had to work at various electrical repair jobs and as a ditch digger for $2 per day. Later in life, Tesla would recount that part of 1886 as a time of hardship, writing, "My high education in various branches of science, mechanics, and literature seemed to me like a mockery. In late 1886, Tesla met Alfred S. Brown, a Western Union superintendent, and New York attorney Charles F. Peck. The two men were experienced in setting up companies and promoting inventions and patents for financial gain. Based on Tesla's new ideas for electrical equipment, including a thermomagnetic motor idea, they agreed to back the inventor financially and handle his patents. Together, they formed the Tesla Electric Company in April 1887, with an agreement that profits from generated patents would go one-third to Tesla, one-third to Peck and Brown, and one-third to fund development. They set up a laboratory for Tesla at 89 Liberty Street in Manhattan, where he worked on improving and developing new types of electric motors, generators, and other devices. In 1887, Tesla developed an induction motor that ran on alternating current, AC, a power system format that was rapidly expanding in Europe and the United States because of its advantages in long-distance, high-voltage transmission. The motor used polyphase current, which generated a rotating magnetic field to turn the motor, a principle that Tesla claimed to have conceived in 1882. This innovative electric motor, patented in May 1888, was a simple, self-starting design that did not need a commutator, thus avoiding sparking and the high maintenance of constantly servicing and replacing mechanical brushes. Along with getting the motor patented, Peck and Brown arranged to get the motor publicized, starting with the independent testing to verify it was a functional improvement, followed by press releases sent to technical publications for articles to run concurrent with the issue of the patent. Physicist William Arnold Anthony, who tested the motor, and Electrical World magazine editor Thomas Comerford Martin arranged for Tesla to demonstrate his AC motor on 16 May 1888 at the American Institute of Electrical Engineers. Engineers working for the Westinghouse Electric and Manufacturing Company reported to George Westinghouse that Tesla had a viable AC motor and related power system, something Westinghouse needed for the alternating current system he was already marketing. Westinghouse looked into getting a patent on a similar commutatorless, rotating magnetic field-based induction motor developed in 1885 and presented in a paper in March 1888 by Italian physicist Galileo Ferraris, but decided that Tesla's patent would probably control the market. In July 1888, Brown and Peck negotiated a licensing deal with George Westinghouse for Tesla's polyphase induction motor and transformer designs for $60,000 in cash and stock and a royalty of $2.50 per AC horsepower produced by each motor. Westinghouse also hired Tesla for 1 year for the large fee of $2,000, $55,800 in today's dollars, per month to be a consultant at the Westinghouse Electric and Manufacturing Company's Pittsburgh labs. During that year, Tesla worked in Pittsburgh, helping to create an alternating current system to power the city's streetcars. He found it a frustrating period because of conflicts with the other Westinghouse engineers over how best to implement AC power. Between them, they settled on a 60-cycle AC system that Tesla proposed to match the working frequency of Tesla's motor. But they soon found that it would not work for streetcars. Since Tesla's induction motor could only run at a constant speed, they ended up using a DC traction motor instead. Tesla's demonstration of his induction motor and Westinghouse's subsequent licensing of the patent, both in 1888, came at the time of extreme competition between electric companies. The three big firms, Westinghouse, Edison, and Thomson Houston, were trying to grow in capital-intense business while financially undercutting each other. There was even a war of currents propaganda campaign going on with Edison Electric trying to claim their direct current system was better and safer than the Westinghouse alternating current system. Competing in this market meant Westinghouse would not have the cash or engineering resources to help Tesla's motor and the related polyphase system right away. 2 years after signing the Tesla contract, Westinghouse Electric was in trouble. The near collapse of Barings Bank in London triggered the financial panic of 1890, causing investors to call in their loans to WE, Westinghouse Electric. The sudden cash shortage forced the company to refinance its debts. The new lenders demanded that Westinghouse cut back on what looked like excessive spending on acquisition of other companies, research, and patents, including the per-motor royalty in the Tesla contract. At that point, the Tesla induction motor had been unsuccessful and was stuck in development. Westinghouse was paying a $15,000 a year guaranteed royalty, even though the operating examples of the motor were rare and polyphase power systems needed to run it were even rarer. In early 1891, George Westinghouse explained his financial difficulties to Tesla in stark terms, saying that if he did not meet the demands of his lenders, he would no longer be in control of Westinghouse Electric, and Tesla would have to deal with the bankers to try to collect future royalties. The advantages of having Westinghouse continue to champion the motor probably seemed obvious to Tesla, and he agreed to release the company from the royalty payment clause in the contract. 6 years later, Westinghouse would purchase Tesla's patent for a lump sum payment of $216,000 as part of a patent sharing agreement signed with General Electric, a company created from the 1892 merger of Edison and Thomson Houston. The money Tesla made from licensing his AC patents made him independently wealthy and gave him the time and funds to pursue his own interests. In 1889, Tesla moved out of the Liberty Street shop Peck and Brown had rented, and for the next dozen years will work out of a series of workshop/laboratory spaces in Manhattan. These included a lab at 175 Grand Street, 1889 to 1892, the fourth floor of 3335 South Fifth Avenue, 1892 to 1895, and 6th and 7th floors of 46 and 48 East Houston Street, 1885 to 1902. Tesla and his hired staff would conduct some of his most significant work in these workshops. After 1890, Tesla experimented with transmitting power by inductive and capacitive coupling using high AC voltages generated with his Tesla coil. He attempted to develop a wireless lighting system based on near-field inductive and capacitive coupling, and conducted a series of public demonstrations where he lit Geisler tubes and even incandescent light bulbs from across the stage. He would spend most of the decade working on variations of this new form of lighting with the help of various investors, but none of the ventures succeeded in making a commercial product out of his findings. At the beginning of 1893, Westinghouse engineer Benjamin LeMay had made great progress developing an efficient version of Tesla's induction motor, and Westinghouse Electric started branding their complete polyphase AC system as the Tesla polyphase system. They believed that Tesla's patents gave them patent priority over other AC systems. In 1895, Edward Dean Adams, impressed with what he saw when he toured Tesla's lab, agreed to help found the Nikola Tesla Company, set up to fund, develop, and market a variety of previous Tesla patents and inventions, as well as new ones. Alfred Brown signed on, bringing along patents developed under Peck and Brown. The board was filled out with William Birch Rankine and Charles F. Coney. It found few investors. The mid-1890s was a tough time financially, and the wireless lighting and oscillators patents it was set up to market never panned out. The company would handle Tesla's patents for decades to come. In the early morning hours of 13 March 1895, the South Fifth Avenue building that housed Tesla's lab caught fire. It started in the basement of the building and was so intense, Tesla's fourth-floor lab burned and collapsed into the second floor. The fire not only set back Tesla's ongoing projects, it destroyed a collection of early notes and research materials, models, and demonstration pieces, including many that had been exhibited at the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition. Tesla told the New York Times, "I am in too much grief to talk. What can I say?" After the fire, Tesla moved to 46 and 48 East Houston Street and rebuilt his lab on the 6th and 7th floors. Starting in 1894, Tesla began investigating what he referred to as radiant energy of invisible kinds after he had noticed damaged film in his laboratories in previous experiments, later identified as Roentgen rays or X-rays. His early experiments were with Crookes tubes, a cold cathode electrical discharge tube. Tesla may have inadvertently captured an X-ray image, predating, by a few weeks, Wilhelm Roentgen's December 1895 announcement of the discovery of X-rays when he tried to photograph Mark Twain, illuminated by a Geissler tube, an earlier type of glass discharge tube. The only thing captured in the image was the metal locking screw on the camera lens. In March 1896, after hearing of Wilhelm Roentgen's discovery of X-ray and X-ray imaging, radiography, Tesla proceeded to do his own experiments in X-ray imaging, developing a high-energy, single-terminal vacuum tube of his own design that had no target electrode and that worked from the output of the Tesla coil. The modern term for this phenomenon produced by this device is Bremsstrahlung, or breaking radiation. In his research, Tesla devised several experimental setups to produce X-rays. Tesla held that, with his circuits, the instrument will enable one to generate Roentgen rays of much greater power than obtainable with ordinary apparatus. From the 1890s through 1906, Tesla spent a great deal of his time and fortune on a series of projects trying to develop the transmission of electrical power without wires. It was an expansion of his idea of using coils to transmit power that he had been demonstrating in wireless lighting. He saw this as not only a way to transmit large amount of power around the world, but also, as he had pointed out in his earlier lectures, a way to transmit worldwide communications. At the time Tesla was formulating his ideas, there was no feasible way to wirelessly transmit communication signals over long distances, let alone large amounts of power. Tesla had studied radio waves early on and came to the conclusion that part of existing study on them by Hertz was incorrect. Also, this new form of radiation was widely considered at the time to be a short-distance phenomenon that seemed to die out in less than a mile. Tesla noted that even if theories on radio waves were true, they were totally worthless for his intended purposes, since this form of invisible light would diminish over distance, just like any other radiation, and would travel in straight lines right out into space, becoming hopelessly lost. By the mid-1890s, Tesla was working on the idea that he might be able to conduct electricity long distance through the Earth or the atmosphere, and began working on experiments to test this idea, including setting up a large resonance transformer magnifying transmitter in his East Houston Street lab. seeming to borrow from a common idea at the time that the Earth's atmosphere was conductive. He proposed a system composed of balloons suspending, transmitting, and receiving electrodes in the air above 30,000 feet, 9,100 meters, in altitude, where he thought the lower pressure would allow him to send high voltages, millions of volts, long distances. To further study the conductive nature of low-pressure air, Tesla set up an experimental station at high altitude in Colorado Springs during 1899. There, he could safely operate much larger coils than in the cramped confines of his New York lab, and an associate had made an arrangement for the El Paso Power Company to supply alternating current free of charge. To fund his experiments, he convinced John Jacob Astor IV to invest $100,000, $3,011,600 in today's dollars, to become a majority shareholder in the Nikola Tesla company. Astor thought he was primarily investing in the new wireless lighting system. Instead, Tesla used the money to fund his Colorado Springs experiments. Upon his arrival, he told reporters that he planned to conduct wireless telegraphy experiments, transmitting signals from Pikes Peak to Paris. There, he conducted experiments with a large coil operating in the megavolts range, producing artificial lightning and thunder consisting of millions of volts and discharges of up to 135 feet, 41 meters in length, and, at one point, inadvertently burned out the generator in El Paso, causing a power outage. The observation he made of the electric noise of lightning strikes led him to, incorrectly, conclude that he could use the entire globe of the Earth to conduct electrical energy. During his time at his laboratory, Tesla observed unusual signals from his receiver, which he speculated to be communications from another planet. He mentioned them in a letter to a reporter in December 1899 and to the Red Cross Society in December 1900. Reporters treated it as a sensational story and jumped to the conclusion Tesla was hearing signals from Mars. He expanded on the signals he heard in a 9th February 1901 Caller's Weekly article entitled Talking with Planets, where he said it had not been immediately apparent to him that he was hearing intelligently controlled signals, and that the signals could have come from Mars, Venus, or other planets. It has been hypothesized that he may have intercepted Guglielmo Marconi's European experiments in July 1899. Marconi may have transmitted the letter S, ... in a naval demonstration, the same 3 impulses that Tesla hinted at hearing in Colorado, or signals from another experimenter in wireless transmission. By July 1901, Tesla had expanded his plans to build a more powerful transmitter to leap ahead of Marconi's radio-based system, which Tesla thought was a copy of his own. He approached Morgan to ask for more money to build the larger system, but Morgan refused to supply any further funds. In December 1901, Marconi successfully transmitted the letter S from England to Newfoundland, defeating Tesla in the race to be the first to complete such a transmission. A month after Marconi's success, Tesla tried to get Morgan to back an even larger plan to transmit messages and power by controlling vibrations throughout the globe. Over the next 5 years, Tesla wrote more than 50 letters to Morgan, pleading for and demanding additional funding to complete the construction of Wardenclyffe. The tower was erected to its full height of 187 feet, or 57 meters. In June 1902, Tesla moved his lab operations from Houston Street to Wardenclyffe. Investors on Wall Street were putting their money into Marconi's system, and some in the press began turning against Tesla's project, claiming it was a hoax. The project came to a halt in 1905, and in 1906, the financial problems and other events may have led to what Tesla biographer Mark J. Seifert suspects was a nervous breakdown on Tesla's part. Tesla mortgaged the Wardenclyffe property to cover his debts at the Waldorf Astoria, which eventually mounted to $20,000, 500,300 in today's dollars. He lost the property in foreclosure in 1915, and in 1917, the tower was demolished by the new owner to make the land a more viable real estate asset. After Wardenclyffe closed, Tesla continued to write to Morgan after the great man died. Tesla wrote to Morgan's son Jack, trying to get further funding for the project. In 1906, Tesla opened offices at 165 Broadway in Manhattan, trying to raise further funds by developing and marketing his patents. He went on to have offices at the Metropolitan Life Tower from 1910 to 1914, rented for a few months at the Woolworth Building, moving out because he could not afford the rent, and then to office space at 8 West 40th Street from 1915 to 1925. After moving to 8 West 40th Street, he was effectively bankrupt. Most of his patents had run out, and he was having trouble with the new inventions he was trying to develop. In the fall of 1937, at the age of 81, after midnight one night, Tesla left the Hotel New Yorker to make his regular commute to the cathedral and the library to feed the pigeons. While crossing the street a couple of blocks from the hotel, Tesla was unable to dodge a moving taxicab and was thrown to the ground. His back was severely wrenched and 3 of his ribs were broken in the accident. The full extent of his injuries are never known. Tesla refused to consult a doctor, an almost lifelong custom, and never fully recovered. On 7th January 1943, at the age of 86, Tesla died alone in room 3327 of the New Yorker Hotel. His body was later found by maid Alice Monahan after she had entered Tesla's room, ignoring the Do Not Disturb sign that Tesla had placed on his door 2 days earlier. Assistant Medical Examiner H.W. Wembley examined the body and ruled that the cause of death had been coronary thrombosis. 2 days later, the Federal Bureau of Investigation ordered the alien property custodian to seize Tesla belongings. John G. Trump, a professor at MIT and a well-known electrical engineer serving as a technical aide to the National Defense Research Committee, was called in to analyze the Tesla items, which were being held in custody. After a 3-day investigation, Trump's report concluded that there was nothing which would constitute a hazard in unfriendly hands, stating, Tesla's thoughts and efforts during at least the past 15 years were primarily of a speculative, philosophical, and somewhat promotional character, often concerned with the production and wireless transmission of power, but did not include new, sound, workable principles or methods for realizing such results. In a box purported to contain a part of Tesla's death ray, Trump found a 45-year-old multi-decade resistance box. On 10 January 1943, New York City Mayor Fiorello LaGuardia read a eulogy written by Slovene-American author Luis Adame live over the WNYC radio while violin pieces Ave Maria and Tamo de Lecco were played in the background. On 12th January, 2,000 people attended a state funeral for Tesla at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine. After the funeral, Tesla's body was taken to the Ferncliff Cemetery in Ardsley, New York, where it was later cremated. The following day, A second service was conducted by prominent priests in the Trinity Chapel, today's Serbian Orthodox Cathedral of St. Sava in New York City.